Welcome to the Persecution Report. I'm Greg Musselman. Coming up, Christians from Muslim backgrounds continue to be imprisoned and pressured in Iran.
The price for converting can be everything, but as Christ said, if you want to be his follower, you have to forsake all, including your life.
Also, Christians in China continue to face harassment and violence. Later, she was raped, set on fire, and left for dead.
They poured kerosene on me to burn me. During that time, I was in so much pain. After they burned me, they left me and went somewhere else. I got up. I'm not sure where I got the strength, but some strength came into me. I got up and ran to another house.
Manini's incredible story of forgiveness later on the Persecution Report. Pastor Rafael Velasquez of the Foursquare Gospel Church in the town of Maranhão, Colombia, was shot dead by 3 masked gunmen in his home, according to a report from Christian Solidarity Worldwide. The assailants broke into the 41-year-old pastor's home in the evening and murdered him in front of his wife and 6 young members of his church. Sources believe that paramilitary groups struggling for power are responsible for the attack on Pastor Rafael. At least a dozen other pastors in the region have reportedly faced threats in recent months. In the past 3 years, more than 35 pastors in Colombia have been murdered and 200 churches forcibly closed. Pastors and youth leaders are targeted since their influence on young people make it difficult for Colombian Marxists and paramilitary groups to recruit them into their ranks. A mob of approximately 400 people, including Chinese officials, barged into the Good News Cloth Shoes Factory on the site of the Fushen Church building in Linfin City, Shanxi Province. The officials used 2 construction vehicles to tear at the building's foundation and also attacked church members who were sleeping on the site, beating them with bricks and other blunt objects. They also smashed windows, doors, and appliances, looted church members' money, cell phones, clothes, and books, and stole the factory's business license. At least 10 church members were severely injured in the violence. Several were taken to the emergency room for treatment. However, the hospital was told by unidentified authorities to withhold medical treatment, including blood transfusions from the injured church members. A convert from Islam to Christianity was shot dead in Bulahawa, Somalia, by members of the Al-Shabaab, a militant Islamic group. In early 2009, 41-year-old Ahmed Matan began facing harassment from Muslim militants who demanded to know why he'd expanded his trading business to Mandera, a town in neighboring Kenya. 2 weeks before his death, Matan informed the former leader of the underground church that he had attended since 2001 that militants were monitoring his activities and preventing him from working in Kenya. He stated, "I'm afraid for my life. The Al-Shabaab want to get proof that I follow the Christian faith. They have not been seeing me in the mosque and seem to realize that I am not a part of them." Matan is mourned by his wife and 3 children. Iranian Christians from Muslim backgrounds have faced harassment and imprisonment in recent months, according to reports from Middle East Concern. Security officers entered the home of 30-year-old Marseille Fassai, and after searching the house and confiscating many of her personal belongings, detained her in the notoriously brutal Evin prison in Tehran. Meanwhile, 7 other Christians who were arrested in late July have now been released from the Evin prison. They're among 25 believers who had been attending a house church meeting in Tehran when they were arrested. They were interrogated and had their personal information collected. Meanwhile, several Christian converts from Islam throughout the western province of Kurdistan were detained for several hours and questioned intensely. More than a year after tens of thousands of Christians were driven from their homes in the Kandamel district in India's Orissa state, many have still not been able to return home. Some are still living in tents near where their houses once stood, and thousands have fled the area and even the state. The official death toll from the August 2008 attack by militant Hindus is 67, but the real number is likely much higher. When the numbers of those affected are so high, it's difficult to remember that each one of these people is a father, mother, brother, sister, husband, or wife. Every one of them has a story to tell, including the young lady in our next story who hasn't let a brutal attack destroy her life.
Manini has a beautiful smile. That she's even able to smile and look forward to the future with anticipation is quite remarkable. This 17-year-old from an evangelical Christian home endured a nightmare when Hindu militants went on a rampage, going from village to village in the Kandhamel district in Orissa state in the summer of 2008.
On the 26th of August in the afternoon, 25 to 30 Hindu people came and attacked the Catholic Church. They burned down some homes, and then they came into our home. My father went outside to talk to them. Then they started to beat my father, and they were going to kill my father, but he was able to run away from our home. Then they beat my grandfather and my mother on her leg. I was inside being silent. They came and grabbed my hair and started yelling at me. They said I was getting proud. Then they took me out of my home. They started to beat me over and over with sticks all over my legs and hands. Someone took out a knife to kill me, but then he put it back. I was also beaten on my head. My hands and legs weren't working. Someone then took out a sword to kill me, but I saw that he was going to hit me, but the blade of the sword suddenly turned. I believe God helped.
Manini says two of her attackers were fellow students from her school. She recognized two others from the village. She says the mob of boys and men ranged in age from 15 to 30. After she was knocked unconscious by the beating, Manini was raped, but thankfully has no memory of this. But the brutal attack didn't stop there.
They poured kerosene on me to burn me. During that time, I was in so much pain. After they burned me, they left me and went somewhere else. I got up. I'm not sure where I got the strength, but some strength came into me. I got up and ran to another house.
Even after all that, the nightmare was not over for Manini. As she was running to get help with her clothes ablaze, a Hindu hit her with sticks. After she poured water on her body and the flames were extinguished, she was in excruciating pain.
After I rescued myself, I was hiding in the house of a relative. Another man came and attacked my auntie, who is a Hindu, by the sword. He was looking for me to kill me, but couldn't find me. After that man left, I was trying to get help from somebody because my body was burned, and my auntie couldn't help me because she had been attacked. I just sat down, and some minutes later, my father came back to me. When he saw me, he cried a lot. And then he said, "Let's go to the hospital."
The right side of Manini's body was severely burned. She arrived at the village hospital in critical condition. A day later, Manini was taken by local officials to the government hospital.
Those who beat me came to the hospital. They said to the doctors, "Don't keep her here. If you do, we will kill you." I told my mother, "I will never be able to stretch out my hand again. My hand will always be like this." I was crying.
However, help would come from a Christian leader in another part of the country, from the city of Indore.
And the wounds were not really healed, and she was having a lot of the damages, injuries still. So during that stage, they have discharged from the government hospital in Orissa. So that was the condition. So then we admitted her in the private hospital in Indore, and she went through different surgeries.
Manini is grateful to the Christians in India and overseas who are helping her physically by covering the medical costs for the surgeries and also spiritually. Manini says she has grown in a relationship with the Lord since those terrible events of August 2008. And because of that, she's able to forgive those who brutally attacked her and tried to take her life.
I have forgiven them because they don't know Jesus Christ. Because of that, they did it, and I have forgiven them. If I see them again, I won't be angry with them. I will talk with love. My future is with the Lord, and where He leads, I will go. I'd like to thank those who are praying for me, and may the Lord bless you abundantly. Please continue to pray for my future, and that the Lord will strengthen me in faith, and pray for my family.
Well, what a pleasure it was for VOM staff to meet Manini, a special young woman in India who could really teach us all what it means to forgive in the midst of such a terrible attack. Now, by the way, Manini's amazing story and those of other persecuted Christians from Orissa State will be available later this year on the DVD Indian Voices Testimonies of the Persecuted, available from the Voice of the Martyrs Canada, and you'll be able to order it in December at persecution.net. Well, thanks for watching the Persecution Report. Remember, when one part of the body suffers, we all suffer. Goodbye, and God bless.
For more information on the ministry of the Voice of the Martyrs and ways in which you can help the persecuted church, please visit our website at persecution.net. That's persecution.net.